Welcome to the Angus Report, the week's top Angus stories broadcast on the web by the American Angus Association. I'm Bob Cervera. Our top story for the week, almost 60 cattle producers from throughout the U.S. participated in the American Angus Association's 14th Cattlemen's Boot Camp, November 29th and 30th in Ardmore, Oklahoma. The American Angus Association and the Samuel Roberts Noble Foundation hosted the event designed for beginning and veteran cattle producers.
We had about 60 participants from 7 states, and they had the opportunity to learn from industry experts from the Noble Foundation, from the American Angus Association Certified Angus Beef, and we also brought in Minnie Lou Bradley, who's been in the cattle business for nearly 60 years as well. In addition to learning from the speakers, we also went to the Oswalt farm there at the Noble Foundation, where the participants had the hands-on learning opportunities to learn from our skills lab sessions, where we had opportunities to have an identification tattooing session, we had a body condition scoring session, a safe cattle handling practices session, and then we had a session that talked about beef quality assurance and safe vaccination handling practices. So in addition to the classroom learning, we also had hands-on learning opportunities, and we really had a good group of participants.
Cattlemen's boot camps are open to all producers and are funded by the Angus Foundation. Last month's Feeding Quality Forum, sponsored by Certified Angus Beef and other industry partners, drew more than 150 people to 2 locations. Speakers included a market analyst, a large-scale cattle feeder, a cattle handling specialist, an ag communicator and Angus breeder and packer buyer, Tim Schiefelbein. He emphasized a theme that all speakers touched on: quality pays.
Marbling is important, and it's important no matter how you manage or sell your cattle. You always want more of it than less of it. Selecting for it is done mainly genetically, so to have those type of cattle in the system is definitely worth more no matter how you sell your cattle. Really, even if you don't grid, you do grid, because when a packer goes to buy your cattle, he looks at his report card and he says, how is this guy doing? And if your cattle do well, he's going to be more likely to buy them, and you're going to have an easier time selling them or another group of cattle that might not be as good as the high quality group. Plus, you're able to sell your cattle when you want to sell your cattle, and with a volatile market, knowing you can get them sold at any point in time is very important, whether you're a hedger or just cash market seller.
Visit the newsroom at cabpartners.com to view presentations from the meetings. And finally, Black on Track, the Angus Foundation's biennial gala and auction November 13th raised more than $330,000 in gross income to support the Angus Foundation's Vision of Value campaign for Angus. Almost 400 Angus supporters from throughout the country attended the event, held at the home of the Kentucky Derby, Churchill Downs in Louisville, Kentucky.
Black on Track Angus Magic at Churchill Downs was an incredible event for the Angus Foundation. It was made possible by the generous support by allied corporate industry entities, Angus breeders across the country, and Angus enthusiasts and friends and supporters of the Angus Foundation. Enabled the Angus Foundation to gross $330,000 for education, youth, and research. We were extremely grateful again to the sponsors, our corporate benefactors, and other individuals that helped make this event possible. And of course, certainly would be terribly remiss if I didn't extend our genuine appreciation to the wonderful event steering committee, our 2 co-chairs, Julie French and Wynn Herbers, and other volunteers who dedicated and committed an enormous amount of time, energy. It was a labor of love for these individuals wishing to help the Angus Foundation advance our mission and raise money towards our Vision of Value campaign for Angus.
Visit angusfoundation.org for more information about the Angus Foundation and the Vision of Value campaign for Angus. Well, that's all for this Angus Report. Join us next week when we provide the American Angus Association's latest news and information. Until then, visit our website, Facebook, or Twitter pages for articles, videos, and more information. Thanks for joining us.
I was one of those guys that was Mineral of the Month guy. Well, behind me there's 80 rolls of hay that 3 years ago would have been consumed. And by using the VitaFirm products, we were able to get better utilization of our hay during the feeding process. You know, these 80 rolls represent $50 per roll, which is $4,000 savings. This is hay that I can use again next year, that I will use next year. That's why I stayed with VitaFirm. I mean, it worked.